This is JNC Collectibles, and we're here with
Elijah Green, and I just got a second place at the Lexington Regional.
Ooh.
About 230 players, and I played Runick Spright. Mostly Runick with a little bit of a Spright engine. So
Spicy.
yeah, we got some spice in here. So get into it. Triple Fountain, of course, best card in your deck. You want to see it. For the quick plays, you play 3 of all the good ones. The Imperm, the Papa Monster, the Search Anything in your deck, the MST, and I play 3 of the Slumber. A lot of people don't realize how good this one is because it keeps you from getting Zeused, which is really important because you can target their monster to keep them from being able to attack, and it's also the only one you can activate on turn 0 without having to summon a fusion monster without negging, because the other one we played was one of the golden drop. This is the one, I just played one of it so I could search it and speed up the deck out, but obviously they get to draw a card, so it's the worst one to be using like its first effect on, but I thought it was worth having so that I could speed up the deck out. But that was it for the Runick spells. And then the 2 Spright spells. I played 1 Smashers and only 1 Starter. Now I know this looks weird. You're going to see the spies here in a minute. My combo involves paying a lot of life points, and you physically cannot resolve this card again after the first one because you'll be too low on life points. So I only played 1, just do it in the initial combo. It's pretty much you play Spright on the first turn and then you're playing Runick for the rest of the game. So those were the spells. For the Sprites, 1 red, 1 carrot. You can add on both of these a lot because my combo ends up drawing like 10 cards if it goes uninterrupted, so you'll usually end up finding both of these. And then I have to proxy a few of these because I borrowed them from a friend. Shout out to Joe Gold. I played 3 Jets and then 3 Blues. You always just start out with summoning the level 2 Runick, so it turns all these online, and then they deck thin your deck a lot and put up a negate before you start going for your fountain draws. And yeah, this engine's really good. It, instead of playing like floodgates like the standard Runick deck does, this gives you a way to like kill them after you skip your first battle phase. So these were super good for me. And then the 2 spicy cards, the stuff you're typically summoning off Gigantic. Apira, this one's mostly known now. It's just on summon draws a card. It's nice because you can bring it back off Elf on their turn to draw another card. But the card that you always go for, Gale Dogra. So for those of you who don't know, it says pay 3k, send a monster from your extra deck to the graveyard, but it's not once per turn. So you do your Spright combo, you bring this off Gigantic, and then you pay 3k, you dump Garuda to draw a card, and then you dump Kit Kalos to mill 5 cards, so that your Runick Fountain for the rest of the game will pretty much always draw you 3 cards, because after you deck thin the Sprites, your deck's almost nothing but Runick spells. So you have really good odds of milling at least 3 Runick spells when you resolve this. And going second, you can dump Intis to help clear boards without having a battle phase, which is pretty good as well. So this card went crazy for me. I drew 10 on turn 0 like all the time today. It was fantastic. And then defensives, triple Super Poly. It's pretty nice in a Runick deck. Being able to pitch the Runick spell usually means you're going to be able to put it back and replace itself with Fountain to draw a card, so it like negates the cost essentially. And if you're getting to make a Garuda, you go +1 along with clearing their board because you're going to draw out the Garuda as well. And then the other 2 defensives were triple Nib, triple Imperm. I went with these because the biggest fear for this deck is Eradicator. So I wanted the best ways to stop that. So like just nibbing Tier at like the end of their turn, or like when they go for a Gigantic, can usually keep you from getting Eradicated, or just saving the Imperm for Curious because you can usually beat everything else. So, and then a lot of my side decks tailored for the Eradicator as well. And then that was all for the main deck. It's 40.
You love to see it.
Yes, sir. And we'll go ahead and do the extra deck now. The boss monster of the deck, Mekk-Knight Crusadia Avermax. So your starting combo usually puts you at about 900 life points because you resolve Dogra twice and Starter for a blue. So the way you don't die is you're just using IP to go into Avermax with the Elf on their turn after you've used Elf. And then, yeah, can't be destroyed by card effects, can't be targeted, they have to hit it, spends a card if they do out it. Just makes it extremely hard for you to die when you are backing it up with a ton of Runick spells, your Nibs, your Imperms, your Super Polys, since you drew 10 cards, plus Smashers, Carrot, Red, you know. And then 2 Elf. Occasionally the 3rd comes up. I might consider it in the future, but it never costed me any game, so I thought that was good enough. And then 2 Gigantic. Funnily enough, you rarely activate the second one. The only reason you play 2 is because throughout the combo, similar to how like Infernity used to have to Diamond Direwolf their own board to make space, you'll make a second Gigantic after already resolving the first, just to take the fusion out of your extra monster zone so that you can use the other Runick spells to summon another Wings, because the fusions aren't once per turn. So, and then for the fusions, just Mud Dragon, Super Poly target, Gruda, both a Super Poly target, and you send it off Dogra in the initial combo to draw a card. Intis for removal with Dogra whenever you're like clearing out their board. Kick Kalos, the card you almost always dump off Dogra just to fill your grave. And you can sometimes hit like Apira, which means your Elf will draw you another card. You can hit like Red and Carrot and bring those back. So this card went super hard for me. This was the worst card I probably played in my deck. I just played it for time. In case, you know, I was ever going first in the last game, you can just like combo and then clear out your extra monster zone and in-phase summon this to gain 1,000. It never came up. My only loss, I went 7-1. My only loss was in time, but it wasn't a situation where this could win me the game. I just had to play as fast as I could. So, yeah, I'd probably cut this for either Nightmare Phoenix to hit anti-spell or Dark to take opponent Spright monsters to get into your Spright engine. So, and then 1 Jerry. He's important just to grab back field spells in certain lines of the combo and just to chump block in simplified game states. Yeah, he's pretty important though. And then triple Wings, because you usually end up summoning 2 to 3 of these on your first turn combo if you go uninterrupted, so she's very important to max out on. And then that was all for the extra deck. Side deck, triple Dark Ruler just for Spright. You can still mostly clear the board even though you don't get a battle phase, because you just like Flashing Fire 1, Intis 1, Smashers 1. It's usually pretty easy to clear out the board still, at least to the point where it's manageable. MVP of the day, D-Shifter. This was very important for the tier matchup, even though I played 8 rounds of Spright. It was very important for that matchup to not get Eradicated, so it's just another powerful hand trap. You'll just D-Shifter them, usually they pass, you do the Spright combo, and then you'll just activate Fountain, and then you use the Runick spells on their turn to interrupt them, so Shifter's no longer live, and then you'll be able to get all your draws, draw into hand traps like Nib and stuff, so. And then my going first cards in the side deck were triple Mistaken Arrest. This card went crazy, super good against Spright. It says neither player can search until the end of my next turn. They can't add any cards from deck to hand except by drawing them, which is luckily pretty much all my deck does. If you have a point, you'll usually like chain Mistaken Arrest and then just chain point because it's your only search card, and then you'll be able to use the field spell to draw 3. This just turns off most of the Spright board. You know, they can't jet, can't blue. So this card was really good. And you draw 10 in your initial combo, so you're like always seeing these going first cards. And then Judgment just for any blowout stuff, you know, post side, stuff like Evenly. Feather Duster, since I usually have a guy in the extra monster zone, you can't use Wings to protect from anything. And then just for trap decks and anti-spell, I played 3 MST. The reason I chose this over Cosmic is because, like I said, in your combo, you go to 900 life points, so you literally can't activate Cosmic if you do the whole combo. So I wanted one that I could just use. And the only time that Cosmic really matters is in the Runick matchup where they can protect the field spell. Eldritch is unlosable, so I don't really care about banishing their traps. And the Runick Mirror is actually almost unlosable because I just make Avermax and they can't target it with any of their spells. But I can target it with mine, so I'm able to slumber it and just be ahead in the deck out race, along with stuff like Carrot helping a lot and Smashers. It's like really hard to lose versus the pure Runick deck. But yeah, so shout outs to my team, JNC Collectible, you know, all the boys, and shout outs to our sponsor, Dragon Ink. They got the best playmats and jersey quality out there, so make sure to check them out. Thanks.